I'm home. You're all my bitches now.
Okay.
I don't know about you, but the topic of our video today has always made me feel a little uneasy. Don't get me wrong, I have laughed at it a lot over the years. And of course, I have blown a raspberry, or do you call it a Bronx cheer? After greeting anyone called Meg. I'm only human after all. But the treatment of Meg on Family Guy has always been a bit uncomfortable with me. I mean, why is everyone so horrible to her? So, we wanted to dedicate this video to Meg. We want to take a closer look at this unfortunate character and try to work out exactly why Meg Griffin is Family Guy's cruelest joke.
And you can stop making that fart sound every time someone says Meg.
So, how was your day exploiting the town's resources, Meg?
Meg! Meg! Meg, 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 Meg!
The History of Meg. In the first season of Family Guy, Meg was voiced by Lacey Chabert from the show Party of Five. But in the second season, Mila Kunis took over the role. Show creator Seth MacFarlane has said that Kunis had a very natural quality to Meg, which is probably because she was just being herself. She recalls her audition. I was 15. Another actress was voicing Meg and then left the show, and they were recasting it. I went in and auditioned for it. But it's not like I did a voice, I just did my voice. And then my only note from MacFarlane was, "You've got to slow down," because I guess I was talking really fast. In the early days of Family Guy, Meg was very much a background character. She was a bit whiny and pretty uptight. She was often embarrassed by the actions of the rest of the family, in many ways making her the most relatable of all the characters in the show. I mean, if you're a teenage girl with Peter Griffin as your dad, you're going to be embarrassed a hell of a lot. Am I right? Then, in 2002, Family Guy got canceled following the third season, only for it to come back 3 years later. And in that time, something changed. When did Meg start getting bullied? To be fair, even in those early seasons, Meg was always an outsider. At school, she was always awkward and nervous, and often picked on. It was, again, part of what made her relatable. Most of us feel a little bit like an outsider at times. And in the wild world of Quahog, being normal would make you an outsider. Then, when the show returned after the enforced hiatus, everything got turned up a notch. They started pushing more and more boundaries with the jokes and subject matter. And audiences lapped it up. So, Meg started getting more and more abuse. So, in a way, the treatment of Meg is all your fault. Yeah! It started with just jokes about her being boring, but quickly escalated to a much darker place. Peter was agreeing with kids from school that called her ugly and telling Chris to burn all of her old photos in the first episode of season 4. And it's got much worse since then. What are the worst things that the Griffins have done to Meg? This is a competitive field. But we have selected the 5 worst things that the family have done to Meg. Let us know in the comments if you agree with our choices. Leaving her out of the panic room. In the episode, The Griffin Family History from 2006, robbers break into the Griffin family home. Fortunately, they have a panic room, so they all flee to safety. But not before Peter has hit Meg with a baseball bat accidentally. After a while, with no telephone or door handle, they decide that the only way out of the panic room was to fit Meg through the vent. They spit on her to lubricate. And when she is out there, Peter asks her to make him a sandwich over the intercom, thus alerting the robbers to where she is. Naturally, Meg becomes infatuated with the robbers, but they decline her advances. At the end of the episode, she is arrested for harassing them. Sold her to Neil Goldman. In the 4th season of the show, during the episode 8 Simple Rules for Buying My Teenage Daughter, Peter opens up a tab at Mort Goldman's pharmacy. Naturally, Peter doesn't really know how a tab works, so He assumes he can basically have whatever he wants without paying. And then he has a bill for $34,000 which he can't pay. So, what's the solution? He sells them Meg, basically as a slave. And Neil Goldman thinks that all his Christmases have come at once. In the end, Lois attempts to seduce Neil to get Meg back, which may actually be one of the nicest things that a Griffin has ever done for Meg. Nearly drowned her. Bet you didn't think we were going to get darker than selling into slavery, did you? In the episode Peter's Daughter from season 6, the house floods and they need to get out of there. Before they do though, Peter fancies a beer, so he asks Meg to go and get him one from the fully submerged kitchen. As she attempts to do so, her shirt gets caught on a hinge on the fridge and she is trapped underwater. Eventually, Peter checks on her and she's unconscious. At the hospital, they learn that Meg is in a coma, and Peter vows to treat her better if she wakes up. Naturally, this works out terribly for Meg when she does regain consciousness, as Peter is controlling and overprotective of Meg when she brings home her new doctor/boyfriend. Erase her from existence. Oh yeah, we can still go darker. In the 2014 episode 3 Acts of God, Peter gets annoyed when players of opposing football teams thank God for beating his beloved New England Patriots. So, he decides to find and confront God about this. He manages to meet God, who agrees to leave the Patriots alone. But when Peter is telling Lois about it all, she says it was a bit of a missed opportunity and he should have asked God for more. Peter then says that he did ask God for one more thing, and we see Meg fade from existence, forcing her to sacrificing her well-being for them. Okay, this one is almost too close to the bone for me. It's actually quite powerful. In the episode Seahorse Seashell Party, the family are sheltering from a hurricane, and inevitably they turn on Meg. This time though, Meg stands up for herself, and years of abuse come out in angry and completely justified outburst. She turns on the family, pointing out the horrible treatment of her over the years. They end up turning on each other, and they are shocked and devastated when confronted with the home truths. But then, while talking it through with Brian, Meg concludes that without her as a lightning rod to take all of their abuse, the family cannot function. So, despite being fully justified in everything she said, she heartbreakingly ends up apologizing to the rest of the family and everything returns to normal. So, why are they so mean to Meg? It's never fully explained why Meg is treated so badly, but maybe that last example gives us the answer that we are looking for. The writers use Meg as a punching bag for the other characters because the family wouldn't work if she wasn't there. They need someone to be the butt of the jokes, so why not the most relatable character? And if we know two things about Family Guy, it's this: they love a long-running joke, and they love pushing everything to the extreme. So, maybe all of this was inevitable for poor Meg. There's another factor at play here too, and one that has been suggested a few times. When the show started, the writer's room was mainly filled with men, and they just didn't know how to write for a teenage girl. So, they didn't really know how to develop her as a character, and when it came to writing more material, they just went for the extreme. But maybe we should leave the last word for the character that plays Meg, Mila Kunis. She has said that she is often greeted with a "Shut up, Meg," by fans of the show, which she takes in good humor. But what does she think of Meg? I love Meg. I mean, how can you not? After 400 episodes of voicing this character, I feel like I grew up with her. Listen, let's not make it low-key. What's the cool kid saying? No cap. Let's just be all loud about it. I effing love Meg. I'm so bummed that she gets the short end of the stick and all that. But she's all of us. Thank you for watching our video. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe for more quality comedy content.